Did you know that most people think that the housing market cools when schools lets back in for the beginning of the school year? Well, what if I was able to tell you that end of the summer time frame going into the school year is probably some of the best times for a lot of people in the market, whether you're a buyer, you're a seller, or a military relocator, or just simply an investor as well too. And I'm gonna give you the skinny on exactly why it matters at this point in time, because when inventory is up 22%, pending sales is up over 10%, and the interest rates are hovering around 6.6% currently right now. But you can see in this market right now that there's still a lot of opportunities, and I'm going to show you and give you the insight that you need to know to make the best use of this period of time that we're now entering, the beginning of the school year. So as the end of the summer winds down in most marketplaces, Hampton Roads is still going to find unique opportunities, and I know exactly how that feels, and I want to make sure that you get that information as well. So if this is your first time being here with me, my name is Craig Hughes, and I'm with the Moving in Norfolk team, and I want to go ahead and encourage you to ring the notification bell and subscribe to the channel if you want to be the first to learn about anything that's going on in the Hampton Roads, the Norfolk, Virginia Beach, the Suffolk, the Chesapeake, the Hampton, and the Newport News, as well as Portsmouth, Virginia market. I think this is one of the best channels for you to get all this information from, and I'm not even just tooting my horn about it, okay? So let's just talk about, I get phone calls and text messages from viewers like you each and every week, and I love every single moment of it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or you're moving in 90 days, I want to encourage you to go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text or even an email by using the link down in the description below at 757-294-8163. And I'll be there to help you every single step of the way, and no matter what happens, I got you. So let's get into exactly why I think that the end of the year, summer, is going to always be a little bit more of a prestige moment for you as well, to take advantage of what this market actually have. So how many times have you actually heard that, PCS season is always from May all the way to August, and that most seasons like this is where a lot of people are going to make their move, and sellers, you put your home on the market in June and July comes and no one buys your home. I still think that you have an opportunity here, and I would love to show you exactly where that's going to be. So we're going to talk about these things here because I want to get directly to what the end of the housing summer surge looks like. And this could be obviously perfect timing directly for you as we now hover out of July, as we move into the August time frame. And the truth is, at the end of summer, it could possibly be some of the best times on returns for the seller, and could be the opposite for when it comes to the best time for buyers as well too, just depending on the situation. I think this is where we find a little bit more of a resurgence into who's actually really in the market for the right reasons and not just kicking tires. So I think this is where you're going to find a little bit more of a substance in negotiation that's going to really matter for a lot of individuals. So like I said, inventory is growing by 22%. The median sales price sits around 368,000 currently right now, and homes on the market right now are hovering around about 28 days on the median, but that's still less than a month. You still are looking at time of period right now where people are still able to put their home on the market, and they can have a viable contract that they are willing to accept within 30 days. Pre-pandemic, we was looking at this as somewhat of a case of 35 to 45 days on average, with a lot more inventory imbalance as well too. So when you see that pending sales are up 10.5% at the end of July, that gives me an idea that we're going to see a lot more increases in homes actually still continue to come out the market at a steady rate. Okay, now currently, right now, as it stands, interest rates are sitting around about 6.63, and the year-end forecast from the economists right now says that we should be somewhere landing around about 6.4%. Now, to me, this is great information because for the 29th straight week, we've seen where interest rates have led below 7%. Now, at one point in time, I know a lot of economists or a lot of people who thought they understood what the market was looking like across the United States was looking at, hey, maybe, hey, we're going to 8 to 9 to maybe even 10% interest rates. Well, I never had that feeling. I understood the 7% feeling, but I never saw the 8% feeling. And I'm really encouraged right now what I'm seeing in the market, because right now, as long as we continue to see that the Fed is holding still on increasing or decreasing the rates that we're seeing at the federal fund rate, I think what you're going to see is that we're going to stabilize this market as much as we possibly can, as long as they can, with tariffs being initiatives, and we're seeing that the inflation that's still trying to be cooled, that should be cooling, is still staying stagnant, whereas what we want to see it come down a little bit more. What this market shows me right now is that buyers are encouraged to go ahead and purchase now and wait for the refinance boom, like we've seen previously after the housing bubble that we had in 2008. I really think that this is going to be another opportunity where it's better to now be in the market, have the asset that you would love to have, and then be willing to refinance it to get down to the payment that you would love to have for the rest of its existence, that you're going to have the asset. So to me, I think we're right now in that moment where things are starting to be steady out a little bit more, and you got to find exactly what it is that you're looking for when it comes to this type of market. So let's just talk about the things that we know we need to be aware of. What is so different between late summer and Hampton Roads? Well, let's start with serious families are buying right now. Okay. Now, homes that are on the market and you're dealing with people who are not already in the school zone that they want to be in, or they're not in the neighborhood that they want to be in, and they're making offers on your home. These are more serious buyers, in my opinion, and not people who are just testing the waters to see if they can get a deal. Right now, when you're looking at people who are looking to move into these communities and families who are looking to find a right school zone for their children, what you're going to see is that you're going to have stronger offers. You're going to have more pre-approvals. You're going to have financial assets in some of these people's hands, especially if they're relocating from selling another asset in another market. And I think this is where you're going to start to see where it's more valuable, and there's going to be a little bit more a sense of urgency when buyers are actually looking in the market right now. The PCS move culture is still here. When you, regardless if you think that they're going to move during the spring, they're going to move during the summer, they want to be in place before the school year, things happen. Orders will come out late, deployments get extended, families can't move because of whatever reason at that point in time, and things happen. But that does not stop PCSing ever. So with military families continuing to move into the market consistently throughout the year, you're going to find people who are going to be willing to actually purchase homes at the right price, with the right options, with the right incentives, with the right negotiations as well. So I think that this market is still going to provide opportunity for the PCS culture to still implement themselves into the market. And with that being the case, I think this is a viable option for a lot of people to understand that if your house did not sell in July, it does not mean this the end of the world. It just means that right now you need to stay ready. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Then you got motivated sellers. Sellers who want to be out of their homes, who wanted to be out of their homes in July, who wants to have their kids relocated to the next school zone that they may need to be in, or if they're downsizing and they're trying to become empty nesters. This is a situation where a lot of times this is going to be more prevalent in this month alone, and going into September, where you're going to see a lot of homes come off the market with better negotiations because things are starting to get more clarity on interest rates. We're seeing that inventory levels are still staying where they are. Competition is still fierce in the market for sellers. And this is really and truly where now there's a little bit more incentive to get out of the home so they can not have be floating to mortgage payments in certain cases. So a lot of times this is going to be a more of a situation for you. Now, for sellers as well, too, you got to understand that buyers are going to have less competition in this market right now because of the simple fact that a lot of people was doing a lot of moving during the summer month. So now that we're starting to wind that down, buyers are going to have a little bit of an opening here for the next couple of weeks where they can see less competition. They can be more choosy, more selective about what they're willing to accept in the home and pricing of the home. So right now, this is going to be a little bit of a more of a give and take scenario for a lot of people. And this is where this is going to be very strong conversations that's going to be needing to be had to make sure that you are able to give yourself the best opportunity viable. Okay. So let's talk about that here when it comes down to buyers' advantages during the late summer. There's going to be more inventory. Right now, we're, like I said, we're 22% year over year when it comes to inventory currently at this point in time. And inventory right now is still slated to continue to probably go up. There's a trend right now where sellers are now being more open to putting their homes on the market than they were before, because the earlier objections that we were seeing were, if I put my home on the market and my house sells, where am I going to go? But I think right now, with so much equity being recouped in homes that are selling, and the buyers are buying at 6 point some interest rates, and sellers are seeing that, hey, you know what, that payment may not be as bad if I can offset and by the rate down with my equity as well. So I think we're starting to see that come back into the market a little bit here right now. So you're seeing more inventory coming on the market, which is going to be an ideal situation because this is going to be more inventory than we've seen in the previous 2 years. But negotiation power is a thing now here too. During the pandemic, you basically had to take a house as is. There was basically, if you wanted the house, you got to take it in the current condition that it's in because it was no inventory and you wanted to be in that neighborhood. You wanted that demand, that school zone. Things of this nature was at play. There was less home inspections, less repairs being made by the seller, less concessions given by the seller during this time frame, and people was actually paying over appraised value to get into these homes. Now, what you're seeing currently at this point in time is that negotiations are back. Homeowners are having to actually negotiate with the buyer, whether that's doing home inspection repairs, whether that's issuing warranties, whether that's actually helping them get cash for closing or things of that nature, just to make sure things was happening at a steady pace during the summer months. And I think right now you're going to see a balance in negotiation power right now between the seller and the buyer as we start to head towards the tail end of the summer. Now, seller concessions are still prevalent right now. We're starting to see those take shape in a lot of the actual homes that's on the market right now. And I think that's what you're going to see if you are around a certain days on market right now. That opens you up to where you may only receive one offer. Gone are the times where we're seeing 3 to 7 to 8 to 20 offers on certain homes right at this point in time. So with the combination of increased inventory, stabilizing rates, and motivated sellers, this creates a prime opportunity for not only buyers who are ready to act right now, but investors as well that waited past beyond the spring. Okay. So now let's talk about this for military buyers right now. The VA loan and seller options, seller credits are always going to be a combination that works best for you. Now, I'm not saying that there's opportunities where you cannot move into a home without money out of pocket. And so that means no money down, not paying closing costs. And there's those things are really are very far and few, but they do take a place. And I know a lot of military buyers are looking to hear that from their friends. They're hearing, I didn't spend no money to actually get into a house. Everything was taken care of by the seller. And that's what a lot of people's targets for. Here's the thing to me. If you're in that situation, so let's take a quick pause from our video before we get going just once more. I wanted to make sure that you understood that we have created the best, robust website imaginable in the Hampton Roads market for you at movingtonorfolk.com. Over there, you can find out everything that you need to know if you're a PCS in the Norfolk Naval Station, whether you're selling a home in Chesapeake, you want to know what your home value are, or you just want to know exactly how far your BAH could go in the Hampton Roads market. We have all that over there for you, and those resources are completely free. That's the main point here. But if you want to know everything that you need to know about resources in the area and you want to know all those things in one spot, we have outlined a resource guide for you for every type of situation that you can find. So head on over to movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides. That's movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides and take advantage of everything that we have over there. Go ahead and download what you need, and we love to make sure that you're always going to be taken care of at any point in time. And make sure you always come back because we're always updating those resources as we need to as applicable. So I hope you've got everything that you need over there. And once again, you can find everything that you need at movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides, and we'll leave a link down in the description below as well. Let's get back to our video. Wait, yes, that's possible to be happening. It happened to me in San Diego. When I moved to San Diego, paid nothing out of pocket except for the home inspection and for the appraisal. But I actually recouped a lot of that money back at the end because there was money left over at the closing table that had to be sent back to me as the buyer. But also what I want you to understand is that I also had to pay for my second home when we moved into it here that we actually have now. So I understand exactly how the scenario that a lot of military buyers wish they can take advantage of. But in certain cases, I really want you to understand that if you have a little bit of a financial savings nest egg, utilize that to its best advantage because that's probably going to get you the better asset than waiting on someone to actually pay for everything for you. And a lot of cases, the sellers are more steadfast. Most sellers are in a situation right now where they don't have to sell because they have so much equity in their home. They would like to sell in a lot of more cases than what you would think. So I hope that you understand that, yes, you may be able to find a scenario where you may not have to spend anything out of pocket, but does that really put you in the best scenario that it possibly can? If it does, then it applies. If it doesn't, then this is a conversation that you want to make sure that you have, so that way that you can get the best bang for your buck and for your family, but also put yourself in the best financial security situation possible. Okay. I want you to maximize your BAH. Now, a lot of times what we are saying right now is that the government has been looking at reducing BAH from 100% of coverage for household expenses to about 90% of household expenses. So that includes your mortgage. That means your utilities. That means anything associated with the property. Okay. So what I want you to understand is that you may have to go a little bit into your base pay, maybe even the other incentive pays that you may get to actually land a home that makes sense for you and your family and give you the comforts that you need. Because at the end of the day, when you're not at work, whether you're in the Navy, Army, Air Force, whatever branch of service, what it matters the most is when you come home that you have the peace and serenity that you're looking for and put you back in the best mental state that you possibly can be in performance of your job. So for me, I understand maximizing your BAH to the fullest extent. So that means that some people may say, I get a $2,200 BAH and I would like to stay under 1,900. Well, that might not be realistic for your situation based on your housing needs. If that that $1,900 or that $300 difference makes you wind up being in the threshold to where you can only get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home versus a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, that significantly is a little bit of a different situation. So I think that you got to look at these things with a open mind on exactly what it can be, and having a PCS friendly timing. Okay, when it comes down to your household goods, when it comes down to your report dates on your orders, understanding negotiation when it comes down to your writing the offer or how you propose these things quickly. A lot of times you want to see a 30-day close. In certain unique situations, you can see a 45-day close. It just depends on the situation when it comes to the buyer at that point in time and how soon the buyer can execute everything in the contract, and sometimes the timelines with the sellers. We have unique negotiation tactics that we can use to help both parties on both ends, depends on the situation. But realistically, I want to make sure that buyers know that they have advantage if they're in the military, but also be open to understanding that there's going to be some movements that's going to happen at that point in time. So let's talk about sellers. Okay. To me, this is going to be important too. Sellers, understand tire kickers are most likely not in the market right now. You probably won't see them back around into November, December timeframe heading into the new year as we start to prepare for tax season. But what you're seeing right now is you're going to have a lot more serious buyers who are looking to take this inventory off the market that's currently available right now. So late summer buyer tends to be more decisive and motivated to get a deal done. Now, does that lead to quick closes? It possibly more likely can. On average, they're usually going to end up with a less than a 30-day close, but still expect somewhere between 30 to 40 days. Just depends on timelines when it comes to negotiating repairs or surveys or things of that nature. So we still want to keep you in mind of a 30 to 35-day close, but in certain cases, it can expedite and be more increasing. Now, there's going to be a lot less listing competition, maybe. See, in the last few years, what we have seen is that the pandemic has slowed us down to where it was really no inventory because it was a buying frenzy. Now we're starting to see inventory come back into the market a bit here. So right now, what I want you to consider is it really going to be less listing competition, or is it going to be competition that matches up to you in the same price point? This is going to be more of a situation. So what do I really mean by that? Let's say that you're listing your home for $350,000, but now how many people are actually going to be qualified at $350,000? Or let's say that most pre-approvals that you're seeing coming out in the market right now is going to be about 375 to 400,000. Well, now that means that buyer who's actually in the market has a range that can go from 400,000 down to 350,000. And if your home fits the needs that they want, of course, they're going to try to take a look at their home to get a deal. But also your competition could be at 375 or 400,000 versus just at the 350,000 in less price point. So you got to remember that competition is going to be based on scarcity and necessity and the wants and needs of the buyer who's actually shopping. So realistically, you have a more of an open opportunity here where you're going to be dealing with more serious buyers who are coming through to see your home for showings, and they're willing to put an offer in on your home. So this is where I really want you to spend a little bit more time understanding that you need to be prepared. Okay. Being prepared means that you still need to be looking at strategic pricing where it applies. Then also making sure that we're still getting the professional photos, that we're still using all the things that we know that we need at our disposal, whether that's the videos, the Matterport scans, the floor plan scans, getting all that information to the buyer to make the best decision. Because remember, not only are you looking at buyers who are actually in your local market, we have buyers who are actually shopping from relocation points, who are virtual, who are looking to get into these homes as well too. So attractive incentives can help as well too. If you have an opportunity to negotiate, make seller concessions negotiable, that is an opportunity to actually get the best buyer in the market as well too. I know it seems counterintuitive to say, hey, look at me, I'll be willing to give you a little bit of money to actually take the house from me. But at the same time, this actually helps offset some of the buyer's expenses that's going to be necessity to them to actually get into the home. And that makes it a lot more of an easier runway for them to get into the home. I'm not saying you need that in every situation. What I'm saying to you is that if there's an opportunity for it to be something to consider, why would not consider if it's going to make sure that you get to move on to the next thing in your life, whatever your life situation may be, and determine that outcome to be. All right. So that's where we're at with that. Now, buyers, I got to talk to you about the action steps that you know you need to take. To me, right now, in this market where you're at currently, you have to be ready to move. I always use the phrase, and I know we'll change the phrase, whether I was in the military or not, is that if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And the purpose of me saying that is because no matter what the situation may present you with, if you're prepared mentally and physically to handle a situation as it occurs, you're always in that position to take care of it. So in our stay ready, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready mantra, get pre-approved now. If you know that you're shopping, the best thing to do, or if you're thinking about buying a home, get pre-approved now. And the reason why that's important is because having the proof of funds to show a seller that you are really serious about buying their home is going to help them make a wise decision, especially if they're competing against other offers. Okay. Now, in my market, what I love to do with my clients is get pre-approved. Let's get you into these homes, and then let's get you to shopping so that way we can write the offer immediately. Okay. And then if you want to try to get negotiable incentives from a seller, I think you should target 15 days or more houses on the market who's been listed for that long. The reason why is because there's going to be less competition in those markets, okay, of those houses that's in those days on the market. So I really want you to take advantage of those. And honestly, you got to have a different mindset. I know people like to be more so in a situation where they would like to take the time to make a decision. I understand that buying a house is not like buying a pair of Air Force Ones. I understand these things, but honestly, folks, I have to try to coach you a bit here to understand things from a different perspective. Buyers who are serious about making an impact and changing their family tree and getting into a home that matches up to what they feel, they're making decisions immediately. They're not waiting 3 to 4 days to sleep on it. I understand. Got to do what you got to do. But realistically, if this home impacts you and moves you and motivates you, that's probably the house for you. And you want to make move with urgency, because before the competition comes in and they have someone else who feels like this is the house for them, and now you're in a competing offer, especially if you're looking to negotiate concessions. Okay. This is really where you need to be at. You really need to understand that if I see a house now, I think this is the house for me. I need to move with urgency to get that house off the market, because if I don't, someone else may come through and say this is the house for them. And now they got us in a bidding war against each other, or they might just outbid me, and the seller may just go with that offer and not even give me a second chance by countering it. So really be honest to yourself that, yeah, I know you're not shopping for shoes. Yes, the Air Max 90s are my favorite shoe. Yes, I would love to wear Air Max 90s every day of the week. And yes, I know a house is not Air Max 90s, but at the same time, what I do know is that if I want this, I need to move with urgency, because there's not enough in the inventory for me to find something very similar, especially if it's on the market less than 7 days. So if you're talking about it from a 15-day or more standpoint, and you walking down home and that's the home for you, I still encourage you to, yes, do your research, understand what you're purchasing, but also make sure that you move with urgency, so that way that someone else does not sneak upon what you think is a deal and they find it as a deal as well too. So also closing before October. You have an opportunity right now to close before October. And here's why that's important for a lot of people. Okay. So if you can close September 30, you're closing at the end of the month, you get to skip October's payment, right? But then you only have to make a payment in November. Now, if you get into October, now you got to talk about October 15th. Now you may have a December 1st payment. With that being the case, what happens is, do you want to have time to start building back up your savings for Christmas expenses, or do you want to actually have to take into consideration now I got to make that first mortgage payment along with Christmas expenses? So sometimes this plays a role for people, and I just want you to make sure that you understand that as you go forward as well too, and make the right decision for yourself based on that. But timing right now in this market, I think that you can find something and land something immediately right now in this market at this point in time. Now, like I said before, we talked about sellers. Okay, like we talked about, you want to make sure you're strategically pricing your home to get it on the market and off the market as swiftly as possible. But then also you want to make sure that you're optimizing your presentation, which is coming down to staging, making sure that we have everything from the street appeal, the street curb appeal, to just everything in the house being in perfect order for buyers to walk through it and make a simple decision on this is the house for them or not. And then offer flexible terms. Be willing to negotiate on closing timelines, including items and especially buyer financial incentives. Now, the buyer financial incentives, some people get carried away with these, and obviously you want to negotiate back. And this is what I always tell my sellers: issue your home. No one can make you sell your home if the terms are not right for you. So to me, this is always what it comes down to, that the seller has to understand what is the best case scenario. I always walk you through the worst case scenario that you may see from an expense level, but I always talk to you about this is what you can expect. And if you're okay with this being the bottom line and anything we get more than that, then that's a positive win for you, correct? Yeah, and that's how things usually go. So you really want to make sure that you always detailed out and understand what the worst case scenario could be. But realistically, we're always preparing for the best, but we always want to prepare you for the worst. So now we have guides on our website, themovinginnorfolk.com, that helps you through a lot of these processes. I really encourage you to head on over to our website at movinginnorfolk.com/helpful-guides. And we'll leave that link down in the description below to where you can take advantage and research everything that you need to know about the Hampton Roads market, and using that movinginnorfolk.com/helpful-guides to get you what you need. So download whatever it is that you need over at that website, because I curated that website directly for you. And it has everything in one place to make sure that you're able to make great decisions about things that you want to do in the Hampton Roads market. So in the summer is your moment, whether you're on the buy side, the sell side, and even as an investor. This is a market right now where things are starting to like settle out and give you an opportunity to take advantage of things that's going on in our market. Now, so whether you're buying or you're selling in Hampton Roads, the next few weeks are going to provide you a unique window of opportunity that's going to be combined with increased inventory, stable mortgage rates, and more motivated market participants. Okay, so buyers lock in their home purchase as soon as possible, and sellers take advantage of the final surge of serious buyers before the market turns back to a fall slowdown. Okay, so stay connected with us. I definitely hope that you found value in this content. If you have, go ahead and hit us with a like. It really lets me know to continue to keep putting content out like this, that you find a value about everything that's going on in the Hampton Roads market. And if this is something that you're trying to figure out for yourself and you still need to know more information about the Hampton Roads market, this is why I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell so that way you can always be the first to learn about any and everything that's taking place in our Hampton Roads market. I also want to encourage you to go ahead and watch this video right here, because this video right here is going to give you a lot more details about things that matter importantly to you. So if you need anything at any point in time, definitely feel free to give me a call at 757-294-8163, and we'll catch you in the next video. Y'all stay safe.